Hello and welcome to Insider News. Today, my co-host and I will be discussing the topic of teenagers in the media. Statistics show that in our day and age, 1.8 billion people in the world are teenagers, which makes up 22.5% of the Earth's population. Each and every day, teenagers influence other people, whether it be old or young. In the modern world, teenagers are defined as reckless, up to no good, and selfish. This definition has been influenced by adults, as there are, unfortunately, groups of teenagers all over the world that fit this definition perfectly. But the majority of teenagers are opposite. Today we have 5 sources to talk about with you. First off, in London on the 20th of February 2017, 5 teenagers were arrested under the suspicion of the preparation of terrorist attacks. The males were held after searches at 4 residential addresses. All of those who were arrested are in their late teens, one of the arrested being age 15, another 16, 2 age 17, and 1 age 19. The 16-year-old from Lambeth charged with preparation of terrorist attacks. The 17-year-old from Merton charged with preparation of terrorist acts and collection of information. The other 17-year-old from Hounslow charged with preparation of terrorist acts and dissemination of terrorist publications. The 15-year-old from Waltham Forest charged with collection of terrorist information and 2 counts of dissemination of terrorist publications. And the 19-year-old from Hounslow charged with preparation of terrorist acts and collection of information. All 5 of the males are being questioned at a central London police station. All of the teenagers were labelled as lawbreakers in this news article, but what most people would overlook was that they were arrested under the suspicion of preparation of terrorist attacks, meaning that it still hasn't been proved that the teenagers were guilty of possessing terrorist information. The ideology that they would be arrested just for the fact that the police were suspicious they were the ones who possessed terrorist information is an atrocity. For my second source, I will be discussing the topic of which a Georgia teen and her boyfriend allegedly went on a Bonnie and Clyde style crime spree, minus the shootouts, that included car theft and credit card fraud, as well as WSB TV reports. Police say Ivy Jade Adams, 17, took her mum's car in Milton, GA, picked up her boyfriend and went to a local bank, where they withdrew all of her mother's money and drove to Florida. Once again, they haven't fully determined the fact that she has actually gone through with her actions. In the news article, it states that a Georgia teen and her boyfriend allegedly went on Bonnie and Clyde's crime spree. The new news article has simply proposed the idea that they did indeed go on a crime spree, without actually confirming it, making the reader believe that from their perspective, teenagers are all, once again, reckless, up to no good, and selfish. Now over to Pearl with her sources.
Throughout many newspaper articles and news shows, teenagers are being portrayed as bad people who are violent, criminal, and out of control. Hoodies, louts and scums is the outrageous title of a UK newspaper article on their bad teenagers. They are being described in horrible terms such as yobs, thugs, feral, heartless, frightening, monsters and inhuman. And many people claim they'd only have sympathy for them if they died. How disgraceful. Civilians and even other teenagers are avoiding and becoming petrified of each other due to these horrendous statements, claiming that all teenagers are horrible people.
2 teenage boys have been remanded in custody after a horrific crash at Bedford Park in Adelaide South last night, which killed a 48-year-old woman. It's alleged the boys were driving a stolen car at high speed when they crashed into 3 cars on Main South Road. And a warning that some viewers may find images in this story distressing.
A horrifying scene on Main South Road. At 9:15 last night, a stolen ute allegedly travelling more than 160 kilometres per hour collided with a car at the bottom of the Southern Expressway. On impact, the car was pushed onto the other side of the road, crashing into 2 other cars. 48-year-old Nicole Tucker from Panorama died at the scene.
The deliberate actions of the people inside that stolen vehicle put other road users at peril and a totally unacceptable risk. And as a result, in this case, an innocent member of the public has lost their life.
Police allege 2 teenage boys from the ute fled the crash. A 15-year-old who was allegedly driving the ute was later arrested and charged with a number of offences, including aggravated causing death by dangerous driving. His 17-year-old passenger is also facing multiple charges. The ute allegedly sped past a police motorcyclist and a marked police car seconds before the crash.
It was clear from the behaviour of the driver of the green ute that he was not going to stop, and immediately there was no acceleration from the motorcyclist, the police motorcyclist. He immediately deactivated his emergency warning lights and contacted police communications.
The section of road was closed for 14 hours, causing lengthy delays during peak hour.
Because of the nature of the incident and the scale, it has taken some time to review and analyse the scene, which is essentially a crime scene.
But commuters were understanding.
It's very sad about the accident. The traffic, well, it's just a consequence of it. So sad news for the family.
I guess because of the death over on South Road, you understand a little bit and you've just got to deal with it, I suppose.
In a statement, Nicole Tucker's family said they were coming to terms with the senseless death of their beloved wife and mother, and that her life was cut short too early. 2 other people injured in the crash have since been released from hospital. Both of the boys appeared in the Adelaide Youth Court this afternoon, and neither applied for bail. Rebecca Opie, ABC News, Adelaide.
This is a horrifying segment claiming how 2 reckless teenagers deliberately stole a ute, sped past numerous police cars and sadly killed a 48-year-old woman. Yes, this is a horrendous but true story, and it still represents Australia's teenagers in a terrible way. This segment is only one of many which showed teenagers as murderers, thieves, rapists and addicts. Many news shows and stories only talk about the negative things teenagers do rather than the positives, creating a negative ideology that represents all teenagers as horrendous people. Throughout Australia in 2015, statistics show that teenagers aged 15 to 19 were 3 times more likely to commit crimes compared to all other offenders.
There's no question that the opinions of society play a very large role in how we perceive ourselves, particularly in terms of physical attractiveness. For example, in our society, Western, US Asian women are judged heavily on their body weight. Men get flack for not being muscular enough, though not half as much as women. We all get a lot of pressure to conform to a certain body type, and we get it through many different types of media: TV, the internet, books, radio, and magazines. But how much of the role does each type of media really play? Are there more types of, say, magazines that are worse than others? We've got a study for that. Rennie Bruta, For Your Health, the relationship between magazine reading and adolescence, body image and eating disturbances, sex roles, 2003. From Bullshit Health, Feel Pressure, Yeah. A lot of research in this area isn't new. Scientists have known for a while that magazine reading in women has been consistent predators of body image and eating disturbances. I'm not talking about eating disorders especially, but a wider concept. Body image and eating disturbances can include eating disorders, but also include surveyed dysfunctions with your body, overestimating body size, and chronic thoughts about weight loss. Magazines for both men and women are thought to perpetuate problems with body image and eating disorders. For women, it's the constant articles like 28 flat belly tricks, slim down from swim season, and other headlines. But even more important may be the constant depiction of models who start out already skinny and get photoshopped even thinner. For men, the magazines emphasize muscle gain, muscularity, and are increasingly coming to include weight loss articles as well. And these influences are particularly important in teens who experience intense social pressure, which is often based on how they look. But does the type of magazine matter? After all, people who are reading certain types of magazines are after certain things, which means they may antagonize certain aspects of the magazine and not others.
In conclusion, throughout all 5 sources, we have demonstrated that teenagers are not a negative impact in society. It is the way that they are portrayed by adults. Thank you for your time and listening into Insider News.